What's up, YouTube? It's Josh from Team Delta V. I'm coming at you guys with a deck profile. This is a deck I've been playing on Dueling Network quite a lot lately. I am 16-1 with this deck in matches for rated. It's really, really consistent, really, really good. I like it a lot, and it's a combination of Qliphorts and Monarchs. It utilizes the fact that most Qliphort monsters, with the exception of Scout and Scout alone, have either 24 or 2800 attack and 1000 defense, which allows me to abuse tenacity of the Monarchs with this deck, because everything unless it's Scout can use it, or can be used to search with it. So I'll get right into the profile. I know you guys don't want to wait around much, so let's get right into it. So we have one Caius, the Mega Monarch. This card is just so easily abused in the deck. The banish 2 target thing is actually really easy to do. I've actually pulled off banish 2. I used Carrier Helix as the tribute fodder, and used a Strike of the Monarchs to make them dark, and then tribute summon Caius, triggering Carrier to bounce a monster, Helix to destroy a trap card, and then Caius, the Mega Monarch, to burn for 1000 and banish 2 cards my opponent controlled. And I swear to you, it was the craziest thing ever, and he scooped because he went -4 off of this one tribute summon, which was hilarious and awesome and everything. And it's just an uber great power play. Then we have just one Caius, the Shadow Monarch. It's all you really need in this deck because you do play the actual Qli engine, which allows you to, generally speaking, not necessarily need this card. And it's also just an easy 1-drop tribute, so that's the only reason I do actually play it. I didn't want to play 3 Majesties Fiend, essentially. This card's just really, really strong. Banish 1, and plus I can banish itself to go for game a lot of times, since I don't have the access to Cowboy, since I don't play an extra deck because of the Monarch engine. I do like having this as essentially my Cowboy, if you will. So yeah, it's a really good card. I really like it. Then we have 2 Majesties Fiend. I don't need to activate my monster's effects nearly as bad as my opponent does. I can just normal summon Majesties Fiend, Pendulum for 5, or Pendulum for 4, and go for game so easily. This card allows me to just easy OTK, no Valk, no Swift Scarecrow, no Gores, no Trigodias, no Battle Faders, no Ghost Trick Jack Frost, whatever you may have can't be activated because of this card. Also, any trigger effects in Grave won't activate, such as anything in Yang Zings, anything in Burning Abyss, anything in, well, any deck with floaters. Also, the hands won't go off, which is very, very good against this deck, the hands. And the Majesty's Fiend is so good against the hands, so I like it a lot. And then my favorite card in the entire deck is the 2 Thestalos, the Mega Monarch. So the reason I play 2 of this card instead of 2 Caius, the Mega Monarch, is because this allows me to look at my opponent's hand every time. And just having access to that alone is so strong. Knowing every card in my opponent's hand gives me just such a huge leg up on them, and plus I get to strip them of one of those cards, and basically I just take note of what they have by writing it down on a piece of paper when I'm on Dueling Network. Even in real life, I do that actually with the Stalos, the Mega Monarch. I side this in other decks, but this card's really, really strong. I really like it, and 2800 attack is so hard to get over. It really is. 1 Monolith, 2 Scout. That's standard in Qliphort. I play fairly standard non-towers build, plus the Monarchs. So yeah, 2 Scout because you're only allowed 2. I play 3 Carrier, of course. This card is so good. If Konami really wants to stop Qliphorts from being playable, just put Carrier to 1 and Helix to 1, and you neutered the deck essentially because they're the best cards in it. They then have to play Towers Turbo variants, which aren't that great or consistent. 1 Disc, oh my gosh. This card is really good at going for game or pushing for lots and lots of damage. I figured that maybe I could play 2 at first, and I really didn't like seeing it in hand very often unless I searched it. So I figured I just really want to search this card. I don't actually want to draw into it, so I cut it down to 1, and I've loved it at 1 the entire time. It's just so good. 3 Helix. Helix is amazing. Being able to pop back row essentially means I don't ever have to worry about it. All I have to do is tribute summon for Thestalos. or tribute summon for Majesty's Fiend, or Caius the Mega Monarch, or any of my monsters. Because every single monster in this deck is level 5 or higher, which is the reason that it works so well, honestly. Pendulum and then normal summon over them is the idea, and then use my opponent's monsters, stuff like that. It's just really powerful. So I really like Helix a lot. One shell. I don't like this card at more than one. I never did. Even when, like, before Towers Turbo was a thing, I really liked this card at 1, but I never liked it at 2 or 3. Even before Stealth came out, yeah. And that's because Shell just isn't that great. Yeah, it's a really good card if you want, if your opponent has, like, Mass Hero Divine Wind or something crazy like that out. But it's also really pointless in most situations. Being able to take out 2 monsters on its own is good if it's the only monster you have in your hand and you have 2 monsters on your field that aren't big enough to get over it. Like if they have a 2700 monster on field and a 2600 monster on field, and you have a Helix carrier on board, or a Helix carrier that can be pendulum summoned, that's when this card is good. Other than that, though, you don't really need this card. So yeah. So that's why I do play 1, just as kind of a safety net. And then I play 3 Stealth. Stealth is so good. My point of view with Stealth is the fact that he can't be chained to essentially allows me to tribute into him using my Helix carrier and bounce a monster, pop a trap, bounce any card with Stealth, making him unchainable. Which is really powerful, and then I can use Monarchs Rocked after I pendulum summon everything I attributed back out. And negate everything I just pendulum summon's effect. Which, by the way, is ridiculous, because it's an easy OTK. I clear my opponent of 3 cards, I then pendulum for 2 to 4 monsters, I then negate those monsters that I pendulum since they are Qliphort. They go to 24 or 2800 attack right then and there. And then I push for game because I took out 3 of my opponent's cards free of charge, essentially. It's so good. That's it for monsters. I do play exactly 20 monsters, 14 spells, 2 Pot of Duality. You don't want this very often because you do special summon quite often as your tribute fodder. But at the same time, you want it at other times, like early game when you want to get to a scout or something like that, or a Helix or a carrier. So yeah, generally speaking, I hit like a Majesty's Fiend, and then something for Qliphort specific, and then 2 cards for like Qliphort specific. And generally speaking, until my second or third turn, my opponent doesn't know what I'm playing. They think it's just Qliphort, and then you have to destroy Scout to win. But this build, oddly enough, can play with or without Scout. I had somebody Prohibition my Scout, and I still won. I don't know why he was citing Prohibition, but, you know, whatever. And then I have, it dropped, 1 Raigeki. I do play this in Qliphort. My buddy Dom just said that you don't need it because of the stealth play. My point of view is I can make the stealth play and clear my opponent's monsters. Why wouldn't I do that? Like, this card is, there's no reason not to play it. I don't care what deck you're playing. This card is good. I play it in Yang Zings. I play it in every deck there is. This card goes in because it's that good. Then 1 Sacrifice. Why wouldn't you play this card in Qliphort? This card is so good. Immune to battle, gain 300, searches when this thing hits grave. That's awesome. Also, it can be used as 2 tributes for the tribute summon of a Qli. Okay, that means if he lasts a turn, which he usually does, the Helix or carrier, I can just normal stealth over him. That's awesome. I really like that. So it's a really good card. 1 Strike the Monarchs. I like this card because A, it's searchable. B, it's a quick play, so it's like a breakthrough. And C, it's a breakthrough skill, essentially. I can tribute 1 face-up level 5 or higher normal summon / set monster, then target 1 face-up card on the field, negate its effects. Yes, I can negate my opponent's scout with this, or I can negate a monster or anything they have, which is why it's only necessary as a 1 of. But that's not the effect that I like it most for. Oh, and after I negate that, I get to draw a card. So it's not it's not a -2 really. It's just a -1 like every other effect negation card. But it also deck thins, which is nice. But I really like the fact that when this card is in my graveyard, I can banish it, declare any attribute. Oh, sorry. And then all monsters become that attribute. Generally speaking, I call Dark and tribute summon Caius, the Mega Monarch, using Helix and Carrier, who have now become Dark, which to me is hilariously powerful. Because, let's be real here, that means I banish 2 of your cards, Helix and Carrier, trigger, and get rid of more of your crap. And you just kind of lost the duel. 3 Summoner's Art, self-explanatory, search Scout, search Monolith. 3 Tenacity, search out my Monarch Stormforth, my Escalation of the Monarchs, and my Monarchs Rocked, which is just a Scodrain that's searchable. Oh, and Strike of the Monarchs. 3 Stormforth, tribute my opponent's monsters, make plays. Basically, that's all there is to it. I don't really think this is necessary to explain in a Monarch-based deck, or even Qliphort. I played this in Pure Qliphs as well. So yeah, 1 Escalation. This plus Stormforth equals a tribute summon on my opponent's main phase or battle or during their battle phase. That also happens to tribute their monster if I have Stormforth. So it's a disruption play that's searchable and awesome. 3 lose 1 turn. It's easy to activate this card, and you never lose when you do. It's so powerful against like Qliphort or against like Necros and Shaddoll and Burning Abyss and all those other meta decks. And then 2 Monarchs Rocked. This is a searchable Scodrain. That's the reason I side Scodrain. This card, since it doesn't say I don't have to control, no special summon. Wish I could show you guys the entire effect. What it says is activate only if I control a tribute summon monster and have no cards in my extra deck, which is the reason I play an empty extra deck. I don't play any bluffs or anything like that because they aren't necessary. But yeah, Monarchs Erupt is essentially just when I have no extra deck and I have a tribute summon monster, I activate it and it negates everything that is not tribute summoned. So anything pendulum summon is negated. But yeah, basically what I do is I'll tribute summon for something, then I'll pendulum summon the same things I just tributed off, special summon them back with the pendulum summon, then activate this, negating those that I just summoned back out, negating everything my opponent has essentially, and just winning from there. Side deck 3 Maxi, because you want to draw against those really fast decks. 3 Retaliating C. It gets you your Max C, and it will be negated. Its effect will be negated to banish by your lose 1 turns and Monarchs Erupt, which is nice. And it's tribute fodder. That is so important. This thing being tribute fodder for your Majestys Fiends or your Caius or your Thestalos, whatever you want it to be tribute fodder for, it can be tribute fodder for, which is really nice because as soon as he goes from field to grave, it doesn't matter how, field to grave, I add a Max C to my hand, which is great. And then I have 2 Majesties or 2 Vanities Fiend. This card is like the best. It's so good. Against like Necros. Sorry. I don't know why I'm yawning so much. But yeah, it's good against some decks. Well, Majesty's Fiend is good against the others. 3 MST. MST is for mirror match and anything that plays back row, essentially. So yeah, 3 of it. 3 Mind Crush, because Mind Crush plus the Stalos is awesome. Yeah, it's great. I love it. And it's good against Necros. Thank Qliphort. And then 1 Scodrain. Scodrain basically is in here in the side deck instead of main deck because Monarchs Erupt is in the main deck. I side this against decks that are super reliant on monster effects on the field. Necros, Burning Abyss, or not Burning Abyss, Necros, Shaddoll, stuff like that. Shaddoll also happens to rely on the graveyard a lot though, so it's good. It's not the best against Shaddoll, it's just good. I'm thinking about changing the deck currently. I'm probably going to cut 1 Stealth, add a 3rd Thestalos, if anything. Or maybe a 2nd disc. I didn't really like it the first time, but cut Stealth for a 3rd Thestalos, or cut the Dualities out for a 3rd Thestalos and a 2nd disc or something like that. Not 100% sure what I'm doing with the deck yet, but for now, this is what the list is. I'm 16-1 with it, as I think I said earlier. This deck is super, super good. I really like it. If you're looking for a Monarch build that you can play in real life without breaking your bank line like an extra deck, this is a great build. Yeah, like this is expensive, but whatever. I'm Josh from Team Delta V, signing out. And don't forget, comment, rate, and subscribe.